What is the ideal age difference between a man and a woman that wants to get married? I mean, A wants to get married to B. What should be the ideal age difference between them? This is a question that I have been asked often. Age is not just a number. When it gets to some points, all right? Age is not just a number. And that is because the differences in age between intending couples can be a pointer to many things that they should be expecting. Now, let me set something very clear at the beginning. It is possible that you have seen a couple who have a very huge age difference between them. And so you may go about saying, I've seen people who the man is 15 years older or the woman is 10 years older than the man, and they have a very good marriage. Now, let me tell you this. Life is not governed by exceptions. Life is governed by principles. Even though life is governed by principles, there are certain instances where exceptions happen. And those exceptions are good exceptions. There are no issues. But we do not live life based on exception. What that means is that you cannot use the exceptional case that you saw somewhere to be a basis, to serve as a basis for giving advice to people. But what is generally known and acceptable and practicable, we can depend on that as a principle. So what's the ideal age difference between a man and a woman that wants to get married? The answer is that there is no generally acceptable ideal age difference. So there are three categorization of the age differences. The first one is the close gap, where you have 0 to 5. So the difference between the ages of the man and the woman is just 0 to 5. That's still manageable because the people in this category, they are more or less in the same generation, and they think the same way because they went through the same, not exactly the same way, but of course when the man is saying something, the woman can relate, can understand what he is saying, because they were born in around the same generation, they went through the same experiences, they listen to the same news, they have the same life experiences, and they also in a way belong to a common group of life expectancy. The second one is the moderate age difference, where you have above 5 years differences between the two people, but below 10 years, 5 to 10 years thereabout. Then you have the huge gap, the huge age difference, which is plus 10 years. So we have cases of men who are 10 years plus older than their wives, and they are fine. It's usually just still okay when the man is older, right? When the man is older than the woman, and the age difference is maybe 5 to 10 years thereabouts. It's still manageable and all of that, but it's still a huge one. But to sit here and tell you that the ideal age difference is this is not something I can tell you, because people have different experiences. How does age difference affect marriage? I will tell you about 10 things that age difference can affect. The age difference affect, number one, your priorities in life. The person that is older will definitely have different priorities compared to the younger person. For example, the priorities can touch on traveling. The older person may not be thinking of traveling because he feels, I'm already old, what else am I looking for? Let me just settle in, and be where I am, the country I'm in, and do my life. But the young person, has different priorities concerning career, concerning exploration, concerning traveling, concerning Japa. The older person already has gone through those phases. Maybe he or she has traveled already, and so the priorities may differ because of the stage of life where he or she is. It can also affect your energy and interest level. The things that you are interested in, the kind of energy that you have, your physical energy, your psychological energy, your emotional energy, will also differ because your ages aren't the same. The man who is older, the woman who is older, we have lesser energy and interest in certain things. Take for example a young lady who marries a older man, really older man, maybe they have 15 years age difference between them. The energy level will be different. The young lady may have interests that will not align with the interest of the older man, right? For example, the man may be a person that still likes to read physical newspapers, and the lady is like, dear, what are you doing with physical newspapers? Stockpiling the whole house with physical papers when you can read the news on your phone. And then the man will say, I don't like scrolling, or I don't like staying too long on the phone. I prefer paper. Interest, of course, energy level too. The young lady may feel like, hey, let's go out let's go on travels, let's go on vacation, let's go on this, because energy is, booming in our bones. But the older person will have, different interest, because the energy level. Another thing that, age difference can also have life experiences, the experiences that you have been through. I said it earlier, if you're in the same generation, you've been through the same life experiences and all that. But where the gap is wide, your experiences are not the same. When the man is saying, talking from this angle, the man will be thinking from that angle. Another thing that can be affected is your health. Of course, just by normal natural principles. The older you are, the more likelihood that your health will be failing compared to a young person, all things being equal. So your health is also something that you want to pay attention to. So if you are thinking of marrying somebody that you are way younger than, somebody once came to my inbox and asked me something around, I think the person that she was considering getting married to was about 15 years older, and I was worried. Like, 15 years is a lot. It does not mean you can't marry a person that is 15 years older or younger than you. But the question is, do you have the same priorities, experiences, interest, energy level, expectancy about life, your health, then your family and children? Your orientation about your family and children will also differ. And then of course your emotional development too. The older you are, it's expected that you are more emotionally developed. That's the expectation. That may not be the case in all instances, but that's a principle. But there are exceptional cases, right? So your emotional development, your emotional level, your emotional stability is also a thing that your age is going to affect. But the question is also going to affect, very importantly, your sexual life. Yeah, sex is physically demanding. It's physically demanding, and aside being physically demanding, sex is also driven by your emotions. It's also driven by your psychology. If you are physically, diminished strength-wise, it's not likely that you'll be thinking about sex often. But for a younger person, you'll still be thinking of exploration. Let's do this style. Let's raise the leg. Let's pull the laps apart. Let's do this. But the older partner may be like, let's just go simple. Let's just go gentle. No exploration. Let's just have it, the missionary way. And everybody goes their way. Not too much foreplay. Just go straight to the point. So those kind of things are going to be affected. But the question is, how do you manage differences, in that are coming up as a result of age difference in your marriage or your relationship? If you are considering marrying somebody that is way older or younger than you are. First, take note that one thing that the older person is bringing to the relationship is experience. And one thing that the younger person is bringing to the relationship is energy. And the energy does not just mean physical energy. It will mean energy pertaining to, current happenings, energy pertaining to how things are done, contemporary ways things are done now, energy pertaining to, the Gen Z way of doing things, the new ways of doing things, while the older person is bringing experience. You see, if at all both of you want to make this to happen, you both need to understand that you are bringing different things to the table. While you are bringing energy, while you are bringing vitality, while you are bringing strength, your partner is bringing experience that you do not have. And so a blend of these two things, or these factors, can be a very big plus for you, only if you appreciate the differences between it. Aside the good thing that you are bringing in, experience, energy, vitality, strength, and all of those things, you need to still understand that there are differences between you. So how do you manage those differences? The older person needs to understand that, hey, I'm up here, my partner is down here. For them to understand me, I need to calm down when we want to have conversation to their level. And then maybe after the conversation, I can go back to where I am. What does that mean? If you stay here and say, this is where I want to stay for this conversation to happen, the gap between here and here will not make both of you to understand each other. And unfortunately, the person that can move easily is the person that is up. Because the experience that you have gathered that made you to be at this level is not an experience that this person has gathered. And the person that is at this level needs to live through time and life to be able to attain this level where you are. So who can come down easily? Or who can move or adjust easily? There's the person that is up here. So the person with experience needs to understand that they are starting conversations that they'll be having with their partner, that they need to look beyond their age. You need to forget your age. You need to look beyond your age and say, I'm older. Why? You want to come down to the level of the person that you are dealing with, just so that you'll be able to have a meaningful conversation. Now, what makes it easy to come down here is your flexibility. So the older person needs a lot of flexibility. This person says, hey, let's do this way, let's go out on this weekend, let's try this, let's do that. And you are here, already grown, already elevated to this point. You need to be a flexible person that adjusts yourself. And your adjustment does not mean that you are throwing away your respect, you are throwing away your honor, you are throwing away your esteem. You are just adjusting so that you can come to the level of this person, and then you'll be able to deal with the person. Now, the person that is at this level, this lower level, needs to understand that this person is doing a lot to come down to their level. So what do they need to manage the relationship with this person properly? You need a lot of respect. You need this person, when the person comes down to this level, you need to let them know that coming down to this level is not a disrespect to them. So you need to romance their ego, you need to manage their emotions by respecting them well. In fact, both of you need to respect each other, because without mutual respect, you won't be able to come down to this level. You'll be looking at the person like, who is this person here? Why should I come down? If you are doing that, there's no mutual respect. So it takes respect to even come down. It takes responsibility to come down. And for the person at this level that your partner has bent low, bend down to come to your level, you need to acknowledge their adjustment. Acknowledge their adjustment, and you can do that by respecting them. Tell them you understand how much it takes for them to come down to your level, or that you even that I understand that it took you a lot to come down to my level so that we can have this conversation. Let them feel comfortable that they have come down from their high table to your low table. Make them feel comfortable, because the more comfortable they feel at your level, the more at home they will be having conversations with you. Do you see how the age difference can be managed? You need to adjust. You need to calm down. The person that is high up here needs to calm down a bit. Mutually respect themselves. When the person also comes down, the person who is lower here should appreciate them, should respect them. There should be a mutual respect between each other. And the person that is up, that is also coming down, also needs to be aware that the person that is low, that is at the lower level here, has done a lot to stay at this level, to even accept you that you are way older than they are. You need to also let them feel comfortable. How do you make them feel comfortable? You need to help them to understand that you appreciate them by not throwing away their opinion. Because you have a lot of experience and they don't have as much experience as you do. So let them feel comfortable making suggestions. When they make suggestions and you don't think the suggestion is fine, don't outrightly just throw away the suggestions. Find a respectful way to reject the suggestion and bring your own suggestion in, making them see reasons why your suggestion is better. And the person whose suggestion is not also taken does not need to feel bad if their suggestion isn't taken. There's a reason why your partner has not taken it, and this is because maybe they are looking at it from the angle of experience that they've had, and then both of you can mutually walk around what you have. And that can only happen if you have open dialogue. You communicate openly, regularly. You talk about your fears. The person that is younger talks about their fears. These are the fears I have, these are the concerns and the person that is up here allays their fears. You communicate respectfully, you talk about your fears, talk about your concerns, and you don't dismiss your partner's feelings. Open dialogue. Then number 2 is adaptability. You need to adapt. This person is older, this person is younger. You need to both adapt, make changes, adapt, make changes so that you can fit into each other. If you don't adapt, if you stay high where you are, say this is where I am, this is where I am, this is what I do, this is what I know, and that's what I will do. Forget it. This person that is here will say, I don't understand her, I don't understand him, he doesn't understand me, I don't think we can work together. You need to adapt, you need to make adjustments, which is part of what I've already mentioned. Then number 3, you also need to work on mutual support. The person that is up here has a lot, the person that is up here also has a lot, so then you need to support each other. If you don't support each other, you will not be able to manage the age differences. The age differences will continue to pop up, it will continue to come up as a regular issue between the two of you. Mutually support each other, and with that, you'll be able to gradually erase, the differences that may arise as a result of, the difference between you. Then number 4, look for shared activities that will interest both of you. The older person may like some games that the younger person does not like. The truth is that you need to, look for mutually enjoyable activities. What does he like that I don't like? What does he like that I can like as well? There are certain things that you don't like that he or she likes. You need to now begin to like some of those things. Oh yes, day 2, the other party too now needs to begin to make adjustment by trying to also like what you like, but they don't like it. That way you will not find a middle ground where both of you will be able to do things in common despite your age differences. Then Lastly, you should be able to plan together if you want your relationship to work. The person that is old, if you are not careful, one error you may fall into is the error of planning for the family without carrying your partner along. You just feel, I have the experience, I know what I want to do, I've done it before several times, I can just decide. If you do that without carrying the younger partner along, the younger partner will feel that they are not needed in the relationship. Why are they staying where they are not needed? They want to get out of the relationship. So you want to ensure that you plan together. And when you are planning together, ensure that there is mutual input from both ends. Don't dominate the planning. Don't just decide for the union. Say, this is what we are going to do based on experience. Like, how can that work? Let your partner put in their own suggestions. Look at suggestions together, accept some, reject some. That way, both of you can move together. The truth is that age differences can have a lot to do with the success or failure of the relationship. Whatever part it will play depends on how both of you take a look at it. But on a general note, I do not think that there should be a very huge age difference between people. Why? On a natural scale, let's assume that all of us are going to get old. Of course, the other part of it that I didn't mention is life expectancy. The truth is that the older person, all things being equal, everybody getting old, the older person is closer to the end of their life than the younger person, right? And the question you also want to ask is for how long at what age do I think I want to be a widow or a widower? We don't know. It depends on God. That is why I said all things being equal, everybody aging, living in good health and all that. At some point, one person who will definitely leave the earth faster than the other person, and it now may mean that you would be a widow or a widower at a relatively young age. Now, depending on the age difference between you, you may be a widow or widower at a young age or at a age that is pretty young, pretty small. If the age difference between you is very wide, you now see the impact of the very wide age difference. The wider the age difference, the higher the likelihood that you will be widowed at a younger age. So these are some of the considerations that you want to put in place. So if you want to make the decision to marry a person who is older than you, it's yours to make, but ensure that you check the pros and the cons properly. I do hope that this video is useful to you. Please share it with your friends. Use the share button, and of course let me also read your comment. I want to read your response to this video. What did you learn? What's your thought? What's your suggestion? What do you think about what you have listened to? Look forward to reading from you, and don't forget to share or subscribe to the channel depending on where you're watching this from. Thank you. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Bye.